Hi everyone, welcome to Homerino Collectibles, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Generations Leader Class Titans Return Soundwave, and it's with Sound Blaster, which is the Titan Master that makes up his head. If you want to get this figure yourself, you can get it at Big Bad Toy Store. There'll be a link in the description below. Now after this video, I'm going to go ahead and film the reviews for both Ravage and for Laserbeak. So if you want to see how the cassettes work with this figure, I'm going to be showing that in their separate videos, so stay tuned for those right after this one. So on the back here you can see the different modes, and you can see that it is technically a triple changer, as you can actually get a city mode out of it. Now, I mean, they're not city sizes, let's face it. It's more of like a little battle mode, like what Optimus Prime's trailer can turn into. It's not that big. Now, you can actually connect different leader class Transformers together to sort of form a city if you get them all. But, I mean, in general, they're just like little battle stations, so I really do wish they wouldn't call them as city modes. But anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing open and take a closer look. And here is Soundwave out of the packaging and in the alt mode. So we do have the three modes, so I'm going to go from this mode to the supposed city mode, and then over to the robot mode. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at everything that it comes with. So we get the little card right here. And then on the back we have some tech specs, which is always really nice to get. Personally, I would have put his intelligence up much higher than this, to be honest, but there you go. So you have Soundwave specs in the red, and then with Sound Blaster, which I think honestly sounds too close to Blaster. But anyway, then you got the blue specs, which is him powered up with that. Now, speaking of that, most of these Titans Return stuff do actually have something that you can do with this guy in alt mode. And at least from looking at the instructions and just from looking around this thing, there's nowhere that I can go ahead and put this guy. Now, he does look really cool. Let's see if we can focus in on him. He basically looks like a little mini Soundwave. He's got some nice silver detail on his face and down on the legs there. And there you have, obviously, Soundwave's face on the back of him. And you can rotate his arms up, and you can move his legs at those 2 points so you can sit down, and then you can turn his head around as well. So it's pretty standard stuff right there, but it basically looks like a mini Soundwave. Looks pretty cool. So if you are, doing anything like a kind of city mode sort of thing, it's nice because you can pretend that he is a little mini Soundwave walking around Metroplex or something like that. But like I said, as far as I can see, there's nowhere that you can actually put him on Soundwave himself. There is a tiny little peg right there that you can see that is meant for robot mode, so you can stand one on his shoulder in robot mode, which we'll take a look at later. On the back here, you can see there is storage for both of his weapons that he will use in the other modes. There is some kind of gaps inside the legs right here. You could just kind of, throw him in there. But there's no, like, official storage where you can, like, peg him in or keep him stored. But overall, it is a pretty solid alt mode. And the transformation, honestly, in the legs, you'll see a little bit later, it can be a bit finicky. But for the most part, transformation in the different modes are pretty good. So, obviously, this is a cassette player. You can see he's got the different buttons on there, which, you can't press them or anything. You got the speakers right here. And then right here on the top, we have the button, which opens up the chest piece. Now, what's inside here, the only thing that you can use this for is to go ahead and set a Titan Master inside this thing, like that. You can plug the gun in there and use it as kind of like you can use it as a flying thingy. In a minute, I'll show you it. It connects onto this for the city mode. Now, what's kind of cool with this thing is it actually does have a play and pause button on it, so it's meant to be a kind of a music player. And again, this does have a couple of ports on there, so you can also put even more little Titan Masters on there, so you can fly a few around. But that's pretty cool, and in robot mode, it looks like he's got some weaponry coming out of his chest, like he could fire some missiles out of his chest. But obviously, if you have, for example, Laserbeak and the other cassettes, that's obviously where they are going to go. So you do have storage for this thing in alt mode, but just not for this guy, which is a shame, but there you go. So to get to the city mode, what we're going to do is disconnect the arms from the legs, which happens, there's a connection there, and then there's also a connection right here on the back. This is just going to flip down. We have this piece that folds out. This is the kind of finicky thing. You've got this on like a double hinge. this is on a double hinge, this is on a double hinge, and then this is meant to connect up with this, which this sits over the top of. So you've got to make sure everything is lined up, and then obviously you've got multiple connections up to the arm. So it can be a bit finicky. By no means is it hard, but it's just can be a little bit annoying if everything isn't lined up properly. But for the most part, it does work pretty well. So what we're going to do is rotate this all the way around, flip this all the way up, put that back, and then bring the gun out. And then there you can see you've got like a little seat there for a Titan Master to sit in. And then you also have pegs, so you can actually stand one on the top as well. So there's a few points on this thing where you can stand a few of these guys, which is pretty nice. We're going to go ahead and open up the opposite side as well in exactly the same way. And rotate this up and get the weaponry out. And also what you can do is rotate these, what are going to be the feet in robot mode, and then there's just a little thing that you can flip up, a bit of detail. We're going to unpeg the guns from the back, so one sits in that hole and one sits on that peg. So this one, since it only has the hole, can sit on either of these pegs. There's one on each side of him. There we go, that was a bit finicky. And then also the gun can sit on either that hole right there or that hole right there. So let's just go ahead and put this on the opposite side. And then this piece with these little pegs go onto those little holes right there. And there you go, that is the city mode. You open up the chest piece, flip this little clear bit up so it's like a kind of control panel. So there's loads of ports all around this thing. You got a couple in the bottom of each of these leg pieces, and then you can stand them inside here, you can sit them in here, you can sit them in those. There's a bunch of different places. I mean, there's even some ports on these red pieces as well, so you can stand a bunch of these things very securely on him. So I don't like the fact that they call them city modes. I would definitely prefer them to be kind of battle stations and then have the actual, you know, Titan class figures like your Metroplex and your Fort Max and stuff to actually be the city modes, because those things actually have, you know, roads and runways and helipads and stuff on them. So as you can tell, me personally, I'm not really a big fan of these types of modes, but the fact that you can get it out of this and it doesn't hinder the robot or vehicle mode, then it's perfectly fine, and it's very awesome that they can do this kind of thing. So let's go ahead and turn Soundwave into his robot mode, shall we? So let's go ahead and just flip the chest up. In fact, I will put this piece inside the chest just so that it's nice and secure. So let's focus on these leg pieces. We're going to go ahead and flip up these so that this can come down and rotate. So basically this is the orientation that the legs are going to be in. First up, we're going to open this double hinge right here so that that all extends. Give that a push. There we go. That clicks into place like so. This is going to go in, and then the front of the foot is going to come out. We're going to rotate that to where it needs to be, just like that. And then this is going to sit inside, and it's all just going to close up. Let's go ahead and do the same on the other side so that you can see what's happening here. So we're going to open this up and clip that into place. We're going to flip the toe out, put that kind of heel section back in, make sure the double hinge is out, and then this section just kind of folds up and slots into place just like that, and the legs are done. For the torso up here, we can go ahead and move these flaps back down. All the arms do is simply you just fold the guns away and you just rotate them down and flip the hands out just like so. Do that again on the other side right there, flip the hand out. Come around to the back. This literally just folds over the back section there. You can open this, and that's where you get the headpiece out. So we fold up the Titan Master and make Soundwave's head, and then we peg that into place right there. I think that looks pretty cool in the way that you can have some extra detail underneath this thing. And then this is going to fold up and out, and we can shut that up. And then now for the reveal, there is the headpiece on Soundwave. It looks pretty cool. Yes, it is quite big over that, but you know, all the Titan Master heads are really big. We can go ahead and take this piece and peg that onto his shoulder where it's meant to go. In robot mode, this guy looks absolutely awesome. He stands about 9 inches tall to the top of his head, and there in the background you can see Masterpiece Soundwave. And if I bring him closer, you can actually see that these guys are basically the same size. Now his gun right here, I mean, you could repaint it if you want to, and then it would actually look very similar to a sort of Generation 1 Megatron. So in all honesty, in terms of looks and design and everything, it's not, I mean, yeah, obviously it's very different to the Masterpiece version, but it's not all that different, especially for a kid. If you want something that's going to fit in with your third party or your Masterpiece display, this is definitely a fantastic figure to go ahead and do so. So like I said, in robot mode, it kind of looks like he has rockets coming out of his chest with that in there. If that isn't there, it doesn't make a difference as to how this looks. Because of the 2 layers of clear plastic in there, you still get that same design no matter what. Whereas with the Masterpiece version, obviously, you can clearly see what cassette is inside. With this one, you can only just about make that out at the top. Very, very nice gold on this thing. That is paint, that's not a sticker. And we have a very nice Decepticon logo in the center there. Again, it's paint and not a sticker. There are no stickers on this guy, which I definitely do prefer over some of the other leader class figures. Now, if we come around to the back of this figure, I really do wish that there was something else that we could do with this handle. Maybe take it off completely or something. It's just kind of sticking out here. Maybe have, you know, some other connection point where you could fold it in. He's got all of these different holes and stuff on the back, but there's nothing really that you can connect to this guy. Now in robot mode, you can actually flip this handle back up if you go ahead and take this cannon off. And if you leave these on, just like it was in city mode, he'll have like kind of, you know, artillery cannons on top of him. So that looks pretty cool. Now, unlike the Masterpiece version, because this only has the hole and not a full-on peg, you can't actually put it in his hand to use as a weapon. So this can only stay on his shoulder, but it's where it's meant to stay. So that's all good. The head, even with this massive thing on, does rotate left and right. Slightly hindered by that, but you can turn it almost all the way right there. So that really doesn't matter at all. The shoulders rotate very nicely. Everything's ratcheted on this guy, which is very cool. And as you can see there, you can't rotate the fists, but you can move them in and out. He doesn't have any kind of waist rotation. These flaps do move out the way of the hips. You can see there's lots of articulation right there, rotation and the movement. And then these feet have so much movement there. We have an awesome ankle pivot that can move forward and back. So the articulation for this guy is great. Both the alt mode and the robot mode are pretty solid and pretty fantastic. Transformation, like I say, with those leg pieces, with all the double hinges, can be a little bit finicky, so just be careful that you don't break anything. But overall, with his size and his amazing looks, he looks great as a, you know, a G1 Soundwave, and it can definitely, because of the size, be used as a Masterpiece replacement if you can get this thing a lot cheaper than that Masterpiece Soundwave. There are many people that might prefer him with red eyes. That Masterpiece one was the Toys R Us version, so that was the kind of, you know, the Hasbro version with the yellow eyes that you can see right here. I think the yellow eyes were on the original toy, and the red eyes are how it looks on the show, and it looks fantastic anyway. So I definitely do recommend this figure as a Soundwave. It's honestly a fantastic Transformer, and yeah, I definitely think that you should go ahead and pick this guy up. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you want to see more by me, there's some videos on the screen right now, and links to my social media in the description below. And for more Transformers, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.